We're on our way. We're on our way. I found the numbers. I found the numbers. I found the numbers. I believe I found the numbers that everybody's been looking for. What I'm going to do is I'll do a more formal video. Is this fire going to take? Is this fire going to take? So here we go. And definitely comment. Let me know. I think I put some gasoline on there. But so these are the garage door springs that we carry on the trucks. And like I said, I'd love to hear, do you guys carry a different size or because I don't know if this is kind of nationwide because, well, the whole nation is different, let's just say. So anywho, all right. And what I'll do is I'll put a kind of a, I'll show you the picture of it here in a second. But so we got the 207, we got 225, so 22 and a half. We got the 218, which I don't know if I'm going to sit here and name all these off for you. So you can kind of see right there. And then we run pairs in these, right? Let's see what else you can see here. You got 22, you got the 234. And like I said, I'll do a more formal video on it probably later. Well, there you go. And they haven't really changed much except for we converted, excuse me. We've converted everything over to 2-inch. So everything on there is 2-inch. We don't run 1 3/4 anymore. So everything is 2-inch. But there you go. And those are what seems to work the best for our stock, what we've had. But like I said, I'd always love to know if you guys are running something different. You know, we also got we run with the torsion tubes on there on our trucks. We got bearing plates. Has anybody used the bearing buster? I think it's called the bearing buster. That thing is pretty sweet. Boy, I wish I had that when I was a young buck starting out in the day because a lot of bearings I beat on. And a lot of them got destroyed or I messed them up or they weren't working quite right. So that was that bearing buster from Service Spring. I think other people sell it too. That thing worked really nice. I'm just going to spend a few minutes before the kiddos come home. Like I said, I figured I'd jump on and do my Tuesday night. So, but let me see if, what do I got? If I got the emails, because I know I got some emails that I still need to go through. What's this one? So this one was talking about, what was this one? Did a lot of you guys do commercial? Are you guys starting to get into some commercial? This fire is I'm going to beat this fire. 1 second. Let me get this fire. We need more fire. It just won't take. Just won't burn. But anywho, I feel like a lot of you guys, I know it's easy to kind of get into the residential and stuck in the residential, but I just didn't know if any of you guys were doing how much commercial, like what's your percentage? Are you doing, 10%, 0%, 50%? I was just kind of curious because I don't know what this year is going to bring business-wise. I think it's going to be that whole lame duck season, a lame duck year, because we don't know who the president is going to be, which we're going to see. That's going to be a bloodbath, I can imagine. That is going to be, we don't think political stuff plays a big part into our businesses and whatnot, but it sure does. It plays a big part into the emotions of people. Seasonality. There's a lot of seasonality to this stuff. Like right now, especially if you're starting out, right now things are pretty much dead, right? Everybody spent their money. All we got to look forward to is tax season. She's ripping now. But this is the time of year that's good to start looking at your advertising, start shoring up. I always like to do some of my customers I always like to do them now, right? This is a time I would always do the little gifts and stuff for a lot of my, because it's just too hard to do it during, Thanksgiving and Christmas. It's not that it can't be done, but if you're in the business like me, I mean, that time of the year is just hustle, grind, bang, bang, go, go. There's no time to really, especially when you're a small business and you don't have like a sales rep, to basically go out and do the gift cards, um, do the gift certificates, all that kind of stuff. Um, so I like to try to do them. I like to try to do them towards the what do you call it? Right now, the beginning of the year, and until March or whatever. And it kind of goes a long ways. You buy somebody, a gift card, a fuel card, whatever. Your customers. It doesn't hurt to tip your customers, especially. Um, I always like doing it for the commercial ones. The residential, there's not a lot you can do. You can, give them a discount or something maybe, but obviously normally the margins are pretty tight. And with your residential customers, it's typically kind of one and done, right? I mean, I still always remember that one guy always telling me, he says, you don't get rewarded, you know, for doing a good job with your residential customers. And I always kind of took that with a grain of salt, because I always looked at it and I went, he's kind of right. Because if you do a good enough job, you're probably not going to go back to that customer for, who knows, it could be 8, 15, 20 years. And in a nutshell, obviously you want to do a good job, because obviously you don't want to go back there every week and deal with a squeaky roller, or the door's coming off track, or it's throwing the cable. So there always is kind of that weird caveat to it, isn't there? I mean, it's just kind of um I don't know, it's just weird when you think about it. That's I always like the commercial. Now, I don't know if I talked about this or not in another video, but here's an idea. Let me know if you think it's a good idea, or companies that do it. I've been thinking, this is just me. I always think it's better to do, it's hard because it's a lot of money. But once you get bigger, right, and you can do it, think about the commercial side though, right? If you do commercial and you get into the rhythm of it, you get all these jobs scheduled and the next one that's coming up and you bid the next job. Unfortunately, you got travel in there. But when it comes to commercial, when you can deal with new doors, you can get away with a lot, right? You can spray basically the door down with oil, and it'll last a year or two or so, right? Before it starts really grinding and really starts showing where it's settling in. So a lot of my bigger door companies around here, that's what they do. They literally, like, they gang up, right? They got like 3 or 4 or 5 locations. And what they'll do is they'll gang up on a big job, right? That's got, 5, 10, 12 or more doors, bigger doors, 12 by 10s, whatever, 14s, 14 by 14s. And they'll come in and they'll power through it, right? And you think about it, that works a lot better, because, like, for a company for my size, right, it's really difficult to do that, because if you only got, 3, 4 guys, and then it's like, do you go up there and you try to pound it out, with longevity of it? Like, you're there, you're spending the night, are you staying in a hotel? But if you can bring in a slew of guys, 6, 10 guys that are every day, they're running their impacts, they're running the guns, right? They know the system really well. It's a little bit easier, you know what I mean? So they know the rhythm of the stuff. But I think about that a lot with, it's just something as a business idea that you might eventually want to evolve into. Because if you deal with the new stuff, like I said, maybe you got to only warranty it. I'm a little bit gray. I don't know if my one builder was always joking with me. He always said they got to warranty it for 5 years. I don't know if we do does such a good job, but we don't always get called back. I can't remember hardly anything that's been like, 3 years in and we get called back and it's grinding or wearing out rollers, um, that we were like technically required. Typically it's a year. That's the normal kind of across the board, you warranty it for a year. So like for us, we obviously do residential openers and things like that. We always, that's kind of our caveat. Hey, we warranty it for a year. And that's always kind of a selling point to those customers because if you have to replace panels and you tell them, look, it's going to be, $800 for me to replace the panels, or it's $1,200 for me to replace the whole door, and you get a year warranty, and you don't have to worry about it, and you get new springs and cables and rollers, and they kind of go, okay, yeah, let's just do that. It's a better system for them. You know what I'm saying? So it's just something to think about. So, hey, I appreciate the thumbs up. I do. I appreciate it, even though my fire is. I'm about throwing a piece of cardboard there in a minute. But no, like I said, I got a few minutes. I wanted to jump on here. I know some of you guys are starting out. And like I said, if you guys are starting out, throw a comment out there. Say, hey, I'm starting out. I just had I don't know who messaged me today. Who messaged me? Somebody from Indiana, I think. Which you guys got to remember. And I don't say this to be mean or anything. Some of you guys got my phone number, which is great. I love communicating with you guys. I love helping you guys out as much as I can. But I don't know if it's the one guy. I get lost. But the thing is, you got to always remember, for me, which is really weird, I don't ever answer my phone. Ever. My phone is always on silent. Always. Unless we make an appointment. Basically, like if I'm texting you and somebody says to me, hey, can I call you? And I say, sure, call me between, 3 and 4, or I'll call you or whatever. But I had, what's his name? But he was telling me he was working on a high speed door today, which I don't do a lot of high speed doors. I've tried to stay away from them. They've just not been good money makers for us. It's been a lot of waste of time. But he was working on a Rytech. And so what else does he got? Oh yeah, this must be this has gotta be the one dude. I think it's Josh. Josh is a cool cat. But which we gotta catch up sometime. Anyways, he was saying something about that Rytech and that high speed. High speeds are just I've tried to sell them before. And honestly, even Cap of the business, he just there's just not enough around here. We did have a car wash that started doing some of them, but they got their own kind of niche to them. They got their own person. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about this area that high speed doors just do not do well. I think it's probably because of cost. I know you can run the numbers a million different ways, and the high speed makes sense all day, but I mean, if you think about we have a customer that's a foundry, and they got some massive high speed doors. I mean, these things are, man, they're either like 16 wide by 20. I think they're 20 foot tall, and they're Albany, and they're a nightmare. I mean, even to this day, even if they try to get even our competition, um, they're just a nightmare to work with. The motors are super expensive. Like I didn't realize we had a gearbox go bad. I mean, this gearbox is, it's massive. I don't know. It's 4 foot by 4 foot, something, a huge gearbox. I mean, the equipment you got to bring in, right? And we diagnosed that the opener or the motor was bad. And it was just gear driven. There's like no spring mechanism to it. And I remember we were climbing all over this thing. We had a harness on, super dangerous. And I remember we got that thing off. We had to take basically a forklift with a skid to put it down on there. And the vendor, I told him, I said, look, I think we're going to need a motor and a gearbox. And they said, we won't sell it any other way. And I was like, oh, well, this gearbox had failed and things have kept blowing breakers. And it was such a nightmare. And of course, what happened is they got a new person in there, and he wants to be Mr. Big Shot. And he starts doing the whole, calling us, and that's unacceptable. I can't wait 3 weeks. How do you guys blah, 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 blah. And it's like, look, dude, we've been working on these for quite a while now. We know what it takes. And so it was like, well, Here's the number to our competition. Go ahead, call them. And so, but the high speed doors. Now Wayne Dalton did make a really nice high speed door when I seen it last. The way it interacted, how it went together. You got to take their class, of course, to install them. Not the end of the world, but it's just one of those things. It's like no matter how much we ever try to swing it, we even had the guy that was doing the car wash stuff. He literally could buy the stuff offline, right? Through whatever it was. I don't even know where he got them. And I remember I asked him, I said, where did you get these? And he's like, well, he's like, you know how you wanted like $8,000? And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, my cost was like 5 and some change or something even. And he's like, I got them for like $3,200. And I'm like, what? I'm like, how do you get them for 3,200? Like, how do you? And so he just bought them, and then he was having us install them, and they really weren't that complicated, you know? So it worked out good because it wasn't like we're on the hook for this money and if something didn't work, you know, it was like, now we just kind of had like, hey man, the control box ain't working. We plugged everything in, we put power to it. You know, you better call the manufacturer. It's not us. You know, we would help them out if we thought it was necessary, you know, but it's just one of those things where I don't know. We had what was it, a food grade place that wanted them too. And pretty big outfit for up here. They do a lot of food, but they ended up they went another route too. It's just too much numbers into them, as far as I'm concerned. But I don't know. Do you guys deal with high speed doors? You know, insulated pan door, tried and true pan door. That's how some of them say it. So anywho, it's got to be slowing down out there, guys. It's got to be slowing down unless somebody's super busy. But yeah, like I said, I got those. I'm going to do a little more. I'll do a formal video on the springs for you guys. I'm just sitting, like I said, kind of enjoying the evening. I'm just happy that I'm actually feeling better because that cough syndrome is going around. And boy, I tell you what, it knocked me on my hiney for 2 days, and I did not enjoy laying in bed for 2 days, especially when it was Christmas time. And I got to miss opening presents and everything. That really was a bummer. So definitely, you know what they say, you know, if you don't have your health, you don't have nothing. Even if you're like Steve Jobs, right? Got all that money, nobody wants to take the cancer from you. So it's all about the health. Finally, that fire's taken off a little bit. Man, it's been stubborn lately. Somebody asked me about my shirt the other day. I got this shirt a long time ago. I got it back when I used to be a Lowe's installer. I was a premier installer. Oh yeah, I was a big shot. They came in one time. They gave us all these Cobalt. I think it was Cobalt tools, and that was kind of interesting. You know, like they were like, "You're our number one installer." Blah blah blah. And I still remember when I went to the sales or to sign up to it, and we had to go. It was in state, but it was another location. It was 2 hours away or something. I remember the one guy, he leans over to me and he tells me, he goes, "Hey, you know why you're here?" I said, "I don't know. So I'm just trying to do garage door installs." I said for Lowe's, and he goes, "You know who's doing them now, right?" And I said, no, I don't." He goes, "He's a roofer." And I go, "Huh?" And I'm watching this guy up here. You know, this guy that's giving us kind of the sales pitch. You know, this is what you do with the customers, and this is why you want to blah blah blah. And I'm thinking, they got a roofer installing garage doors. Like that just seems totally butt backwards. Like if people only knew what was going on, you know. And I think when they go to these box stores, you know, they don't realize these are subs or guys that are contracted out. So they think we're going to come in our little vest, you know, we're in the back just waiting for them. You know, we're just sitting here waiting to do something today. We're going to show up in the old box truck. Like I said, I was really surprised how many people didn't call us out with not being like, "Well, why aren't you driving a Lowe's? Why aren't you driving a Lowe's truck? Why don't you have the vest on?" Which they gave us. They didn't want us to put some kind of apparel on, like wear a hat or have a shirt, but it was always kind of weird. It was always weird to me. So They want, they wanted us to put signs. They used to give us some yard signs, park on the road, put cardboard under your vehicle. Actually, really good stuff. I mean, if you look at it, I get it. It's because they want to play this concept with the brain, right? They want the customer to see you put that cardboard down. So it's like, well, it wasn't them when the husband comes home and goes, "Who the heck left a puddle of oil in the driveway? It's brand new." Well, I'm sure it wasn't the garage door guy because I watched him put a piece of cardboard under there. So I don't think it was him, which they could, of course, always say it was. You know what I mean? It's always one of those things. But so, anywho, you guys carry garage door springs? You guys carrying garage door springs on the trucks? If you are, how many? We got 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Is that right? We got 16 springs. I guess the 207 was always kind of, the 273 was always kind of a weird one. We didn't always, some of the guys didn't want to carry. I always carried it. The 273. Right there. That one got me out of a jam sometimes, especially on some wood doors, if you didn't know. But that's why, too, nowadays, I'm telling you guys, everything is preparation. Don't mind me, sinuses. It's preparation. Ask the customer to send you pictures. If you need to take a few demos when you're at customers, customers' jobs, do one standing back. Because that's how I work. I want a picture of the outside of the garage, right? So I can see their address above it. I can see what color the house is. I can see if it's got an arch, it's got windows, if it's got flower pots or something in front of it. Is there a raised panel? It's amazing for myself that when you can see something, it's almost like you can smell it and taste it, right? I can tell what kind of garage that is. I can tell it looks like there is a man door. There isn't a man door on the side. If they take a picture of the outside and then they take a picture of the inside, that's all they got to do. They can stand on the back wall. I don't care. Just take a picture. That can be so helpful for you. So helpful. It can just help out so much with just seeing it. And then you can see the broken spring. You can see the cables are off. Is it one spring? Is it two springs? Is it got struts on it? Is it got insulation that somebody glued to the back of it? Does it look like it was, they chopped it down? The raised panels, you can typically count how many on the outside for how wide it is and stuff like that. Those pictures, I'm telling you. So you just gotta, if you do your prep work, it can save you a lot, because obviously if you see it's like an old nasty wood door, you might want to bring clamps. You might want to bring that torch kit. You might want to bring a couple heavier springs that that can be a common problem with them. Just some things to think about. But anywho, I think I'm going to jump off here. Doesn't look like we got too many jibber jabbers. And like I said, it's Wednesday. I don't know. Tuesdays seem to always be a little, it's like Wednesday, it's like hump day or something. It's kind of like everybody's trying to get to the weekend, right? I don't blame you. But anywho, I think I'm going to sit back, enjoy the fire, keep getting my rest, get rid of this head congestion. I hope you guys do well. I hope, like I said, freeze it if you need to. I'm going to do a more formal video, like I said, but there's your springs. Somebody was asking about it. You got your springs. They're there. Years and years of development right there at your fingertips. You're welcome. See you on the next one, you guys. Have a good one. And I think we're out.